Good evening, everyone. Let's wait for 2 minutes so others can join the meet. Vamsi sir, can we wait for 2 minutes so others can join? They are still joining.
Sure, Chandrasekhar. Let's give the candidates a little more time, please. It's just 7:03 now.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Okay, sir.
Chandrasekhar, seems like a little technical issue from my side. I'll just log out of the call and log in again in a quick minute.
Okay, sir. Okay, I think we can start. Uh,
All right.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. Today is the fifth day of mobile internship program provided by Dr. Pallam Sethi Innovations. Yesterday, we discussed about various widgets that are available in Flutter, right? Today, we will learn some new widgets, and after that, we will demonstrate a to-do app incorporating all the knowledge and skills we have acquired until this point. And as always, Feel free to ask questions and actively participate in the today's session. Without any further delay, let me invite our energetic speaker, Vamsi Reddy sir. He is a former cloud security analyst at Decho. Sir, you can take over the session now.
Thank you, Chandrasekhar. Hello, everyone. My name is Vamsi Reddy. I started my career as an undergraduate as a network administrator and retired as a cloud security analyst. My expertise lies in mobile app developments, network securities, and cloud services. I'm very honorably obliged to deliver this session under Dr. Pallam City sir's guidance. I see that we have already discussed everything about the Dart and the other components of the Dart, the Flutter, everything. Let me just give you a quick recap of what Dart is. We have a lot of programming languages for the micro editions. When I say micro editions, for the low end capable machines like PDAs, mobiles, or any household gadgets, etc. For that, let's consider the option of J2ME. It's almost the same as the J2ME. J2ME is again another platform developed by the Java. However, the Dart is an open source general purpose programming language developed by Google. In 2011, it supports application development in both client and server sides, but it is widely used for development of Android apps, iOS apps, Internet of Things, and web applications using the Flutter framework. However, the Java was developed by Sun Microsystems, as most of you know that, which was developed around mid 1990s, and now Oracle owns it. It is also widely used in general purpose programming language that is popular for building large scale enterprise applications. And, you know, Java runs on the other frameworks apart from this, the Flutter. It doesn't run on the Flutter. However, the frameworks which supports the Java is like a Spring and Hibernate. And both Dart and Java are statically typed languages, which means that variables must be declared with a specific type before they can be used. And Dart gives us a more flexibility. However, Dart is more flexible type of systems than Java. In Dart, variables can be declared as either dynamic or final, which allows more flexibility in how they are being used in the program. This makes it a very easy to write the code that is both type safe and flexible for the beginners also. Trust me. And Java is again a cross-platform language that can be used to build applications, just like the Dart for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac. Um, Dart, on the other hand, is primarily used for building web and mobile applications only. It's primarily used for. Okay, it can also be used to build web applications using the Flutter framework, and can also be compiled to native code for building mobile apps for Android or iOS, etc. Okay, and syntactically, Dart bears a strong resemblance to Java, C, and JavaScript, etc. As it is also a dynamic object-oriented language with a closure and lexical scopes. And I see that in the previous sessions we have already covered what Flutter is, and the Flutter installations, the folder structure in the Flutters, and the introduction to Dart programming. I mean, the Dart and the programming modes in Dart, variable declarations in Dart, how the statements are to be declared, the loops, just like in C, C++, or Java, the conditional loops, the functions. Uh, the more important point when we consider Dart is the widgets and the types, because unlike other programming languages, the widgets in Dart are customizable. This is one of the major advantage over the other programming languages when it comes to the Dart. Okay, and the main difference between the Dart and a few of the other programming languages is hot reload. I'm sure most of the people might be aware of the term hot reload, but for those who was not familiar with that, let me explain. Hot reload is a powerful feature that enables the developers to make changes to the code during the runtime without having to restart the VM, that is the virtual machine. Let's say, like, if you find a bug in particular program, and you want to fix the bug. Obviously, being a developer, you have to create a bug-free code. For that, you don't have to stop the virtual machine and upload the code again, reload it. In Dart, you can run it on the runtime without having to restart the application. This helps in reducing the development time and makes it easier for the developers to see the effects of the patches or the bugs, what has been fixed, and the changes you made in the application in the real time. That is one of the most important point in the Dart. Okay. Chandrasekhar, can we quickly get into the slideshow, please?
Yes, sir. Is my screen visible, sir? The agenda slide.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's visible now. And I see that, yes, in yesterday's session, the icon budget button widget has already been covered. However, let me just give you a brief of that. Um, the icon button widget in Flutter is used to create a button that contains an icon. Um, let's say Flutter provides an icon widget to create any icons in our application. This icon has a multiple roles where you can declare how the icon has to react when you just hover the mouse, when you double click it, when you single click it, whatever the application, whatever the code you write it. In the application, the icon is kind of a user interface which acts as a bridge between you and how the program has to be run. Okay, we can create icons in Flutter either using the inbuilt icons which are already in the Flutter program, or with the custom icons also. Flutter provides a list of all the icons in the icon class. So this is just a basic overview about yesterday's icon button widget. And you know, coming to the slide 4, it explains us about the expanded widget, which is commonly used in the Flutter to ensure that a child widget takes up all the available space. When I say all the available space, it's not the disk space, it's the screen space. Okay, please don't misunderstand between the disk space, which is the hard disk space, and the user interface space. To explain you in further, in Dart programming, the expanded widget is used to make a child widget take up additional space available along the main axis. Let's say, when I say about the main axis, the real-time objects what we see with our eyes is in three-dimensional, X, Y, and Z, right? So, but in the screen we see it in a two-dimensional, X and Y. So if you want to place a one particular object at one particular place and use all the space available for that particular object, we can use the widget expanded. Okay, it's commonly used when you want a child widget to fill the remaining available space within its parent along the main axis. The main axis is x-axis. Okay, and x-axis means laterally. The expanded widget is commonly used within a column or a row to control the size of its children along the vertical or horizontal axis respectively. You can't manipulate both of them together. You can respectively manipulate them. And the expanded widget allows you to use the flex property to specify a flex factor, which determines, like, how the space is allocated among the children. The larger the flex factor, the more space the child gets. It's a, like, it's like, it a simple code is, say, like, flex open parenthesis 16 comma 0. Let's say example, the 16 is a major factor which is being used by that particular child. We will definitely get into the details about this in the upcoming code, but I'm just giving you an overview of what expanded is, so that once we dive into the to do app code, we will have an overview of what expanded and how it is being utilized in the code, and what are its what are the consequences of that. Okay, the expanded widget can be nested, just like, as you're familiar with the other coding languages like C, C++, etc. Let's say if you have a nested loops like if loop, for loops, in the same way, this next expanded widget can also be nested within other flex widgets, allowing for more complex layout. However, being a beginners and the introduction program, we have not utilized this nested widgets, uh, as we don't want to confuse you. We want to make it as simple as possible so that you all will understand the features and the basic layouts of the Dart. And the expanded widget is also a useful tool for creating flexible and responsive layouts, especially when dealing with the columns, rows, or flex widgets in Flutter. And it is also important to note that expanded widget should typically be used as a direct parent or ancestor of a child widget within a Flex container. Okay, and we will get into the details about how the expanded widget has to be used in the code, and what are the parameters it has to be used, and how it can be allocated to a child, etc. in the upcoming code. In the upcoming code. Can we move to the slide 5, please? Yeah, thank you. See, whenever we develop an app, there might be few apps which doesn't require any information from the user. It might automatically take the data from the code itself or from any other sensors or whatever it is. But there are few apps which require the data has to be input from the user. For example, when you log into the Gmail and when you're trying to register yourself, you have to put in your name, your date of birth, etc., etc., etc. All this information is read or is being typed in a field called text field, which is very similar to the other applications. So the text field widget is the most commonly used text input widget. By default, the text field is decorated with an underline, and you can add a label or icon or inline hint text. For example, let's say you're trying to input a data which consists of only digits. You can just put a hint when the mouse cursor hovers over on that particular text field. It just gives you a hint saying that this field should contain only digits. Or let's say you are trying to input a data of your date of birth, and that gives you a hint text saying that only a date of birth date format has to be entered over here. Let's suppose in the date field you're trying to enter your name, which is again a character, which is not a date field. It's a character field. I'm sorry, it is a date field, but you're trying to enter the characters. Obviously, that has to be denied by the program itself. In such cases, you can also give an error text by supplying an input decoration as a decoration property of the text field. Like, once you enter a wrong data in the inappropriate text field, it also can give you the error message also. Okay, that is something about the text field. We will get into this, the text field later in the code itself. Okay, and now can we just go to the slide 6, please? Yeah, and the 7. So let's just go ahead and build a very simple app, which is like basically to record the to-do apps. Let's say uh, there might be one day when you get very busy with your task, and you have to schedule all the tasks on your app. So we developed a simple app which can store all the to-do tasks for you for that particular day or month or week. And this app, we developed it on a FIFO basis, like first in is first out. It has to be a first in first out, but however there might be situations where one particular task might not be available for that day, and it could be postponed. So we can delete that particular task out of a blue, and the next task takes up the immediate priority. Okay, this is a code where we can just go ahead and look into this. Just like any other program, void main run app, the class to do apps. You guys have a little look on this app. I'm sorry, the code. I'll just give you a couple of seconds time, and it's on the screen now for you. I'll just get into the each and every part of this code in detail in the upcoming slides. Okay, Chandrasekhar, can we go to the next slide, please? I'm sorry, Chandrasekhar, can you just go to the the seventh slide, please? See, in this, you have a text editing controller, which is again a task controller which controls how the data has to be manipulated. And I'm just giving you an overview of this. We will definitely get into details about each and every part of this code in the later part. See, as usual, the void main, and the run app, which again starts the app, and the strings, the list string, text editing field, the widget, the build widgets, and next slide, please. Good. Yep. And in this expanded, which is again being explained to you in detail in the coming parts, the trailing, the icon button over here, uh, in the eighth line of the code, if you see the icon button, which is the topic which has been covered yesterday. Okay, have a simple look about this code. I'm sure it might be a little confusing for you, plus don't worry about it. We will get into the details of each and every part of this code. Have a little look about on this code. Can we move to slide number 9, please? See, we have created padding expanded. I'll explain you about the padding and expanded. Don't get confused. Most of the features look similar to you, but I will explain you in detail. But don't get confused between the padding and expanded. Okay. Here we can see the icon button, um, and the important things over here is task controller, expanded, and the padding. These are the important points which has to be looked for in this code. And as I said, we can give any hint text also. If you notice in this code, in the ninth line, there's something called hint text. So this is something where when the mouse hovers on that, it just gives you like a data, a pre-written data in the text box saying that enter a task, which is the main task what we have to run on the using this program. Okay. Yeah, let's get to the screen 10, please. Yeah, good. See, import package Flutter material dot. This line imports the Flutter material, which contains the widgets, tools needed to implement the material design. And again, the material design is a language developed by the Google. Let's say, to explain it to you in the layman terms, we are calling upon a library. A library contains the books, which might be of subject science, mathematics, or to be more precise, physics, chemistry, and all those stuff. In physics, we have various versions of the physics. In chemistry, we have example organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, etc., etc., etc. Just like that, we have a lot of widgets and tools within the Flutter package. This has to be called so that each and every widgets and the tools can be is made accessible in our program. This imports the Flutter material design package, which contains all the widgets and tools to generate a design application. Okay, and next slide, please. Yeah, the main function. Main function is the entry point of the Dart program. Remember, this is the main entry program into the Dart programming. Okay, it calls the run application function, passing as an instance of the tool of the to do app widget, which represents the entire application. It's just not one particular function, it represents the entire application. Next slide, please. How? And here you see, to do is a to do app is a stateful widget. It extends a stateful widget, indicating that it has a mutable state. The create state method returns an instance of the private to do app state class. Like, you know, I'll put it in a simpler way for you. Um, this class represents the main application widget. Okay, it extends the stateful widget because it needs to maintain the state, which is the list of the tasks. Like, uh, we, as I said, the to do app is all about inputting the number of tasks which has to be done, and this maintains the state, which is the list of all the tasks which has to be taken care of. Okay, and next slide, please. Okay, here, if you look at the code, it says to do app state extends. Okay, let me explain you about to do app. Unlike to do app, this class extends state and manages the state for the to do app. Like, it contains the list of tasks and the task editing controller for handling the input. For example, in a program, you are entering a text data or any kind of data into a a text box. This text has to be either sorted, stored, or processed by the application, which or whatever we have developed for. So this task editing controller kind of acts as a bridge between the text column, I mean the input, and how the text has to be processed or stored or sorted. So the main function of this is controlling the text for handling the input. Okay, and later initialize the list of tasks and text controller. If you see over here in the code, it says list string task is equals to open and close parentheses, and these lines create an empty list of tasks to store the task and a text editing controller to control the input in the text field. Like, it's not a single task what we are trying to enter in this app. We are trying to enter a multiple tasks. So these lines create an empty list of tasks to store the task, and the text editing controller controls the input in the text field. Like, as I said, the text editing controller does what the data has to be done by the application. Okay. uh, and in the later part, when we compile the code, I will again clearly explain the importance of the text handling and text editing controller as well. Okay. About the slide 4, override. Override is again a build method. uh, See, override widget build. This method is required for any widget in Flutter because it constructs the UI for the app using other Flutters. So it's kind of, the user interface is the most important phase when a user is being, involved in any application. There are few apps where the user interface is not at all required. Everything is be done based on a AI or any other data which is being provided by some other app or some other IoT or some other platform. But here, the override constructs a UI for user interface for the app using other Flutters. And this part begins the build method, returning a material app widgets as the root of the widget tree. See, material app is a container for the entire Flutter application. As I said, the widgets is not a simple one type of widget where we can just put in one widget and we can run the entire applications. As the complexity of the program increases, just like expanded, we can use nested widgets also. That is called widget tree. This is mainly used when we use widget trees, where the user interface is also plays a vital role uh, when developing an app. We don't want any app which is very layman looking and nomad looking. These days it's all about how good is the user interface. For example, if you log into a Mac website, it's a very exclusive website. However, if you just log into a regular Gmail app, it doesn't give you any extraordinary user interface. It just gives you a user interface. But the Mac website gives you a extraordinary user interface. So for developing such type of things, we use override widget build. Okay, and can we go to the next fold, please? Sure. Okay. Okay. Here, before this, I have to mention you about the scaffold and material app. Material app widget is a fundamental widget that defines the basic structure and behavior of a Flutter application. That means, like, it is a typically the root widget or the widget tree provides various settings and configurations for the entire applications, like, how a particular object has to be declared, how a particular object has to be displayed, where it has to be displayed, the entire configuration for the entire application. In Dart programming with Flutter, the scaffold widget is a fundamental building block for creating the structure and the layout, the entire layout of your app's user interface. So that's what I've been saying, like, uh, uh, one particular icon or one particular text box, where it has to be displayed and how it has to be displayed. Everything is being controlled by the scaffold widget in the fundamental building block for creating the structure. It also provides a basic visual structure, including the app bar or a body and etc. also. Okay, and coming about this, um, just give me 1 minute here, please. Seems like a technical issue here. Okay, so in this, we see that there is, if you see, I said, like, I'll explain you about the expanded and the child. In this dot program, the expanded widget is used to make child widget take up additional available space along the main axis. As I said in the previous explanation, its common use is, like, when you want a child widget to fill the remaining available space, within its parent along the main axis. When I say main axis, it's only a one single axis. It can be manipulated both the x and y. At one time, it can access only one particular axis. Okay, the expanded widget is commonly used within a column or row to control the size of its children along the vertical or horizontal axis respectively, mm, which has been again explained to you. The expanded widget allows you to use the flex property, as I explained. And the important thing is, the expanded widget can be nested within the flex objects, as I've already mentioned you. Um Basically, this expanded widget is a very useful tool for creating a flexible and responsive layouts, especially when we are dealing with columns, rows of flex widgets in the Flutter. Okay, it is important to note that also that expanded widget should typically be used as a direct parent or ancestor of a child. And the child here in the expanded under the expanded list view builder, this is being used the space. This child is using the entire space which is being developed inside. Okay, um, this particular thing, child, is a scrollable list of widgets. Okay, and can we go to the slide 16, please? Sure. Here we see quite a lot of interesting things over here, like list view builder and the item builder, etc., etc. Okay, uh, list view builder is a task list. This section creates a scrollable list of tasks, using the list view builder. As I said, here this app's main intention is not to just create one particular task. Its intention is to create a multiple tasks which can be prioritized by the program itself, and we don't have any permissions to prioritize it, as we wanted to develop a simple app to just to make sure you understand everything in clear. And let's say we have created four tasks, which are scheduled at 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m., 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m. Let's say the 9 a.m., the current time is 8:30 a.m. So the first priority, as I said, we have given it in a FIFO basis. So the 9 is the first task which we have already entered into the app. So the 9 displays in the first uh, position. And it might so happen that the task which has to be continued, to be taken care of at 10 a.m. might display as your second task because we have created this app as a FIFO. So the first one is 9 and the second one is 10. The third one might be 9:30 and the fourth one might be 11 o'clock also. Now, suddenly out of blue, the 10 o'clock task which has to be completed is already been taken care of by somebody else. Then we can directly go ahead and delete the second task, which is the 10 o'clock task, so that the task which is scheduled at 9:30 takes the priority number 2. So this is where the scroll bar comes into the picture. This creates a scroll bar for each and every list of tasks by this list view builder. That means it builds a list of the task which can be viewed by the user. Each task is represented by a list title widget with a title task. Okay, and we also have included a delete button so that if you just wish to delete it once the task is completed, or if the task is completed before its existing time or entry time, using an icon button, which is again a widget which has been developed in the previous class. Okay, the item builder callback is called for each item in the list, creating a list tile for each task. And each list tile contains the task test and a delete button, which is again an icon button widget with unpressed callback to remove the tasks. So if you see the set state, tasks.remove at within parenthesis index, that says like, this is called when on pressed. Just a couple of lines above that, if you see on pressed function is being called, this particular thing, you know, deletes the task when that delete task icon button widget is pressed. So this particular code is for that. Okay, and uh, this is pretty much clear, self-explanatory. Item builder has been taken care of, and can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so here, if you see, as I said, do not get confused with padding and expanded. This coding part includes a padding widget to add space around its child. Inside the padding, there is a row containing two children, a text field for entering new task, and an icon button for adding a task. The on-press callback for the add button uses set state to update the UI by adding a new task from the text field and clearing the text field. So this is very self-explanatory. When we get to the code part, I'll clearly explain you. Uh, like we have created a text field, and the text field data is the task what has to be taken care of. We have definitely entered, let's say, complete mobile app meeting by 10 a.m. today. That is the task which we are entered in. Now, to create this as a to-do app, we created another icon button widget. On pressing that, this particular task is being added to our to-do list. For that, where do we place this text button and where do we place this icon button widget? For this example, let me explain with icon button widget. This, in layman terms, let's call it as a button, just a simple button. This button has to be placed in particular place, which has a free space of, let's say, example, 6 mm on the left side, 6 mm on the right side, 6 mm on the top side, 6 mm on the bottom side. This is the layout, let's say, example. This can be achieved by using the padding. Okay, in Dart programming, the padding widget is used to add padding around its child widget. And also the padding is a space between the child widget and the boundary of its container. Let's say the boundary is the total framework. And this defines the space between the boundary that is the framework boundary, and the child widget. The widget is particularly useful for creating spacing and improving the visual aesthetics of the user. It doesn't carry much importance in terms of programming, but this all comes under the user experience. Like, how good the user experience is, the user is delighted as much. So this improves the user interface. And the padding is also has wide varieties of types. Let's say, like, there are, I'll just give you examples which is not mentioned in this code. However, just for your information, edge insets all, like, there is one particular padding which applies the same padding to all the sides. Let's say in the previous example, what I quoted, 6 mm on the to the left, 6 mm to the right, 6 mm to the top, and 6 mm to the bottom. Here, the margin is same for all the four sides. So we use a particular type of padding called edge insets dot all, which again applies the same padding to all the sides. Let's say if we don't want same padding on the left, right, top, bottom, and we want a specific padding to the left and right only. We are not concerned about the top and bottom. Let's say for that there is another type of padding called symmetric. Here, uh, the values what we have to mention is the horizontal value and the vertical value, okay, which allows you to specify vertical and horizontal padding independently. That means, like, on the left side, on the vertical side, you want this particular padding. On the horizontal side, do you want this particular padding? Let's say 6 mm 6 mm, or 6 mm 8 mm. You can change these values also, or 8 mm 9 mm. I'm just giving you in layman terms in mm, but it doesn't take the values in the mm, of course. I'm just giving you for explanation purpose. So this particular symmetric padding can be used, okay. And you know for example, in the first example what I mentioned, the padding value is same across all the directions. Let's say, the left, right, top, bottom. Now we have also learned about the symmetric, which is vertical and horizontal. Let's change the scenario. Let's club these two, and I want a particular padding value on to the left, and another particular padding value to the right, another particular padding value to the top, another particular value to the bottom. For this we use another type of padding called only, like, again it's edge insets dot only. Here the top value has to be mentioned, the bottom value has to be mentioned, the left value have to be mentioned, and also the right value also has to be mentioned, which allows you to specifically pad for individual sites. When I say individual sites, right, left, top, bottom, okay. Unfortunately we haven't put that over here. We don't want to make the first code so complex, so we just put a the padding in that, simple padding in that, okay. And can we just go to the next slide, please? uh, Chandrasekhar, can you just execute the code and show fellows, like, how does the code execute?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. See, friends, this is the to-do app what has been developed, okay. And towards the bottom of the screen, if you notice, enter a task.
I just compiled the code again, sir. That's why it's come.
Yeah, no problem, thank you so much, appreciate it. Yeah, hello. If you see, the main purpose of this app is a to-do app, which is again, I don't have to reiterate it. So Chandrasekhar, just give me 1 minute here, please. Can you delete the text in the text widget, please? Okay. Now, in the text widget, this is the place where you enter on the towards the bottom of the screen in the app. If you see, enter a task. This is what I said, a hint task. If you remember me explaining you about the hint text, this is the hint. That means it is showing you what has to be entered there. So that is the hint text which has already been provided. Uh, and now, Chandrasekhar, can you enter? Yeah, on the highlighted C, the hint text we have mentioned in the code, enter a task. The same thing is being reflected in the app. Just to make it easy for the users, we can give a enter a task also. Let's say we haven't put it in the code. Let's say we are trying to input a date over here. We can return an error message also. Don't worry, I don't want to make the code so complex, so we have kept the code as simple as possible. So Chandrasekhar, can you just put in a date over here, please, for me? Let's say 12-01- in the app, please. Yeah. No, not there. In the app, in the compilation. Yeah, in the text widget. Okay, just hold. So we have inputted a data which is not a task. It is just a simple date, which is today's date. Now, when we try to enter this task, do not enter this. Do not enter this. Do not enter this. I'm just giving them an example. When we try to enter this as a task, this is actually not a task. This is a date field. Now, when we try to enter this as a task, the program can give us an error stating that this is not a complete task. This is a simple date, or rather, incorrect data. You can put any error message whatever you want. So then what happens is the user realizes that we have been entering a incorrect information in the inappropriate data text field. So now the data is will be erased by the user. Can you erase the data and put in a task for me, Chandrasekhar, please? This is the data, which is an appropriate data, which is being added as a task. Can we please just go ahead and add the task? Now, the plus is an icon button widget, which we have already discussed in the previous class. When we hit on the plus button, now the app registers join session at 7 p.m. as a first app. So, can we please add another task scheduled at 10 p.m. please? See again. Okay, and one more at 7:30 p.m. please. Okay, over here, if you see, the first task is supposed to be taken care by 7 p.m. The second task is to be taken care at 10 p.m. and the third task is supposed to be taken care at 7:30 p.m. As I said, we have written a simple code just to explain you how the text field works, how the other widgets work. We haven't written a complex code to sort the data, that is the number of the task based on the time value. It is just a FIFO. First task which we entered is 7 p.m. The second task is 10 p.m. The third task is 7:30 p.m. So the program, what we've written, just simply reflects the first in data wise. So now what happens is, let's say, for example, this 10 p.m. data, sorry, the task is already been taken care of. That means this data has to be removed from the app. So now you see a trash can over here, which means like that particular task can be deleted. So can we just go ahead and hit this delete button for me, Chandrasekhar? The second one, please. Okay, never mind. That's okay. So now when I hit the 7 p.m. task delete, the 7 p.m. task has been deleted. Now the 10 p.m. is not our priority. Our next priority is 7:30 p.m. As I said, we have written a simple code. The 10 p.m. is being taken the highest priority. However, we can again write a code, additional patch, so that the 7:30 p.m. will take the utmost priority, and the 10 p.m. can take the second priority. Okay, can we add another task just to show them a scroll bar? At say 10:15, or let's say any time of your wish. You can simply put it as task one, task two, task three, Chandrasekhar. You don't have to mention the times over there, please. Yeah, task one, add. Task two, add. Task three, task four, task five, and task six. Okay, thank you. So can you scroll up, please, in the app? Yeah. Now on the screen, you see that. Can you go a little up, please, to the task at 10 p.m.? Chandrasekhar, can we go to the task at 10 p.m.? Yeah, thank you. So over here in the app, we only see task at 10 p.m. till the task number 4, but we also have task number 5, task number 6, which is hidden. So now in the code, we have written a scroll function so that, when we scroll down, uh, can you please highlight that for me, Chandrasekhar, in the code part? Yes. Okay. See, this particular code helps us to scroll down in the app to see the remaining apps also. Can we scroll down in the app, please? In the app, please. Yeah. Now, see, the task at 10 p.m. and task at 7:30 p.m. is hidden, and the task at 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. are being displayed. So the subsequent code plays a vital role in providing this kind of user interface. And when we talk about the expanded and the padding, the task one in this axis, the same axis, expanded is used in the same axis along the x-axis. How much space has to be left out to this particular child. And for this trash icon, can we go to the padded uh, code, please? Yeah. Okay. Um, just let me put it up on my screen as well. Just give me 1 second here, please. Okay. So if you see in this, uh, as I mentioned, there are three types of paddings. All, I hope you people remember that. All, symmetric, and only. All means it applies the padding to all sides of that. Okay, and we have used the all over here in the code. Um can we go to the slide number 17, please? Sure. If you see in the second line padding, we see edge insets dot all. That means the value which we have mentioned is 8. That means that particular thing, object, or whatever we are mentioning, the child, whatever we are mentioning, it requires 8 spaces around all of its 4 sides. Let's say over here, if we have written say symmetric value 8 comma 0, which means that it allows only 8 spaces to the vertical side, and 0 spaces to the horizontal side, which is again top and bottom. Okay, this is the explanation for the padding. Can we go to the compilation, please? Okay, so the scrolling has been explained over here, and the padding has been explained on this, and also the expanded also explained for you. uh, can we delete task number 4, please? So the task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4, These are the tiles of each and every task which is being generated over here. Okay, and this is pretty much self-explanatory, and I think that's it for today. I don't want to get into the more jargons, as the mobile application development platform is pretty new to you. I really appreciate your this opportunity, and I would request, if you have any other questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. I would request you to make use of this to the maximum. Does anyone have any questions about this today's session?
Thank you, sir, for sharing the valuable information.
Uh, my pleasure, Chandrasekhar. Can we have any QAs, please?
Yeah, guys, if you have any questions regarding the today's program, you can ask.
Or else, if you're not comfortable, asking the questions here, Chandrasekhar is going to display our email address. You can mail us on that, and we'll be more than happy to, assist you with any other questions you come up. I definitely promise you, on behalf of Honorable Dr. Palam Shetty, sir, we will definitely reply to you, but it might take us a little time, as we are handling other projects as well. We will definitely get back to you with all other information or any other queries you have. Yes, Bhavana, we will definitely share you the PPT. Don't worry. At the end of the session, we will provide you the entire PPT. Here we go. Chandrasekhar has already shared that for you. Okay, guys, before we wrap up, um, I've been in this field for more than 14 years. I'm sure you people are new generation. You have very upcoming and very brilliant ideas. Trust me, there's a lot of generation gap between you and me. You might have seen that literally on the market. You might come up with a brilliant ideas about the user interface, or how an app has to be run, or what kind of apps are more creative, and which is more convenient to the users and all the stuff. But trust me, believe this, and remember this throughout your life. Always stick to the fundamentals and never forget the basics. Whatever it is, even it's a programming, you're developing an app, you're writing a code, make your fundamentals strong, and keep always the basic work done aptly, exactly, and on time. This will definitely make your work much easier. Don't and do not ever think of fancy. First, think basic, work basic, run basic, and then you can definitely uh, think about the fancy items. Do not worry about the fancy items right away. Now, what I would request you is, just go through all the information and all the PPTs which is being shared to you by Chandrasekhar. And I would really appreciate if you can come up with, any simple basic apps which is little hotke, little away from the regular apps. You can always share them at the email which is being displayed at on the screen, info@drpalamcityinnovations.com, and we will really appreciate that. Chandrasekhar, I am done with the session for today. You can
Yes,
take over, and you can ask for the attendance registers and all this further proceedings.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And everybody, I wish you a happy holidays, and enjoy your time ahead. I hope you had a great sessions with Dr. Palam City Innovations, and looking forward for the final session for tomorrow. Take care, and wish you all the good luck for your future endeavors and the prospects. Thank you so much. Have a nice time ahead. Bye bye.
Sir,
Chandrasekhar,
thank you,
I'm
sir.
out.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay,
Thank you
sir.
so much, Chandrasekhar, for the opportunity.
Yes, sir. It's my pleasure, sir.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Yes, sir. Bye. Guys, a small announcement is there. As we wrap up an exciting and enriching journey in our app development program, We are thrilled to announce that tomorrow marks the last day of the program. Okay? We extend our heartfelt appreciation for your dedication throughout this learning experience. To celebrate the successful completion of the program, we invite you to join us for the closing ceremony tomorrow. Okay? This event will take place at 9 a.m. in Google Meet and will be a moment to celebrate your accomplishments, share insights, and look back on the remarkable progress made during the program. During the closing ceremony, we will also provide essential information regarding the guidelines and tasks required to obtain your internship completion certificate. I am mentioning again, we will tell the details regarding the internship completion certificate. So you need to attend the tomorrow session mandatorily. Okay, we are pleased to inform you that all participants who have attended the program will receive a participation certificate as a token of appreciation for your active involvement and commitment. Thank you. And you fill the form and you can leave. Tomorrow the session is mandatory and it is at 9 o'clock tomorrow. If you have any questions, you can ask in chat box. And mention that tomorrow session is mandatory to your friends also. And all PPTs will be shared in WhatsApp group by today night. And every recording is uploaded in YouTube. You can watch it in the YouTube also.